What's going on, guys? Welcome, Rabid here, and in my possession I have the miner we were not sure existed. This is the L1 FluMiner, and I did get this from ASL Miner. Links and everything will be in the description for this miner, and this should be the greatest home miner for Dogecoin. The script algorithm and all those other merge mine coins, it can mine all of them because it all depends on what pool that you are using. So we can see a cute little deer there. I'm going to open up this box and let's have a look at this. All right, guys, so here we have the FluMiner, and it looks a lot like the home DG1 there from AlphaPex. But coming up to the top here, we can see kind of backwards, sorry about that, but it does say 5.3 gigahash, and it is actually supposed to be about 1200 watts, putting it pretty darn efficient for a home miner, and it does supposed to work on 120 volt as well as 240 volt. Just to have a look at the backside here, and I point out backside because this was a major thing and aesthetically I did not like with the home DG1 is they had all the plugs and everything in the front, and this actually has in the back. If you have a Jazz Miner X16 or something, you're pretty familiar with this layout. So we have two fans here for the power supply. We have a C19 plug right here. There is an antenna attachment right here, so that indicates Wi-Fi. Obviously your Ethernet, whatever you want to call it, your internet there, and a TF flash card slot right here. Kind of hard to see, but it is followed up with three, looks like 120 millimeter fans. This is a liquid cooled miner, so it should be nice and silent. Now coming in the front, we can see a nice display here. FluMiner right here, scrolling on up for the air vents. I'm not sure if the front is the intake or the exhaust in it. And then we have our dashboard right there. Now, judging by the buttons, we can kind of see right here. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. We can see your IP stuff there for your Wi-Fi and whatnot if you're connected, and your LED reset button, and then it looks like a red and a green button, and your little display screen right here. Now, judging by everything, the way it's laid out, it looks like it's meant to lay on its side, which means you could probably stack them up and everything, and this is a pretty fairly heavy miner. Now, inside the box, it came with two mounting brackets as well as a little antenna for Wi-Fi. It looks exactly the same as the gold shell ones. I took a gold shell one and plugged it into it, and it does screw in as well. So if you end up losing this or something and you have a gold shell miner hanging around, it's pretty much the exact same antenna. As for the power cables, by default it came with a China plug, which is, if I can find it, oh, that's this guy right here. And they also threw in the North American 120 plug, which is your standard plug like this guy right here. And again, that just goes in, get this kind of stuff on the floor, into your standard C20, or I guess this is the C19 here. The plug on the miner itself is a C20. The male end is always the higher number. All right, so to get this up and running, it's pretty simple. Plug in your internet plug right here, and then take your power cable, which I have here, and plug it in. I'm going to plug it into the watt meter right here, so give me a quick second. There we go. I got that all plugged in. Looks like we are drawing zero power at the moment, so that's a good thing. We see, oh, what do we got here? Oh, I missed it. I think it was that deer picture on the start. So this is your screen, I guess, that you'll be looking at for display and everything. I hear the fans and stuff pick up, not too loud. Little bit louder than the DG1, but again, it's initial boot up. It may be doing fan checks, all that other good stuff. So keep that in mind when doing this. So let's jump into the dashboard and see how to set this up. Also, we're going to set the Wi-Fi up. So you are going to have to set up your landline first and then adjust the Wi-Fi, input the parameters and everything once that is done. But right now, yes, this is looking like a nice machine, nice and quiet. Let's get it running. There's one thing, look at, oh, it's not there. It said 6 days of uptime before I got it. It looks like it's getting an IP now. It's defaulted to LTCF2 pool. So we're seeing a lot of stuff go back and forth. I was hoping to catch that 6 day thing. So it looks like it, it had like a 6 day pre-mine before they sent this thing out or something. So yeah, now it's no longer there. So anyway, let's jump into the dashboard. All right, guys, so coming into my router, I can see the latest thing here is Rockchip is what this thing is called here at 192.168.1.66. So I'm simply going to copy this, and I messed that up, so I'm going to do it again. Right click, copy here. I'm going to put that in my browser and see what our dashboard is looking like. So here we go, FluMiner with the little deer, a username and password. So I guess let's just go with admin. And let's go admin again. I have no idea what this is. So that's wrong. So let's try root and root. That's probably actually what it was, but I always fail. I should have did that first. Root and root. There we go. Oh, this is a nice dashboard. I like this. Bitmain, look what's going on here. This is sweet. Alphapex, you know, I don't know how to pronounce it right. Alphapex or whatever. Look at that. Any ASIC miner out there, look at this dashboard. It's freaking awesome. Anyway, so yeah, we got this. We got an overview, pool setting, Wi-Fi settings. So I guess we're going to set up our Wi-Fi here right quick. So, do we have to do everything manually? It doesn't automatically look for Wi-Fi. So you got to actually write it in by default manually. So make sure you know what your actual name is and then password. So I'm quickly going to set that up here so that you guys don't see all my information. Then you'll drive by and try and steal all my stuff and so on and rack up my bill or whatever else. So I'm going to set this up. All right, so I set that up and then it asked me to reset the miner. I said yes, and then I unplugged our internet there, came back into my router. Now we can see a Wi-Fi connection here, and then the older one will eventually disappear. So we have a new IP to log into your dashboard. If you log into the old one, it's going to say it can't connect, all that stuff, because there's no longer a connection with that IP. So as we can see, this is the old one here. So I'm going to come in, paste the new one in, and now we have to do all this stuff again. So now I'm going to go root, both. Oh, what did I put? Raw. You know, I'm butchering this. So root, and then root, log in. There we go. Back to our super nice dashboard. I'm really loving this dashboard here. So now we're going to go into pool settings here on the left-hand side, and we got to set up our test. And here you can see they already were doing their own testing based on passwords. Hey, we can see their worker name and passwords and stuff. Anyway, I'm going to try something like, I don't even know what I'm going to try yet. All right, so I'm actually going to use Unminable for this. In the past, I found Unminable is actually really good for the script algorithm and getting paid directly in Doge. Also, if you use code Rabid, you'll also get a discount on pool fees. So use that and it'll help me out just a little bit here. But I'm going to set up Unminable here and we'll see what things look like. And that way I can track it on its own for a little bit. And then eventually I'm just going to put all my miners together on who knows what pool yet. All right, so here's my initial setup. I am going to get rid of everything else here and see if this works with only putting in one pool address. A lot of miners recently, it does seem like you need to put all three, so I'll just copy and paste this into all of them and keep it the same. But for now, let's go with this. So here we can see worker name. You got to choose the actual coin you want to get paid out in. In this case, I'm getting paid out in Doge. Then you put your colon, your wallet address, and then your period here, and then you put in your worker name. And if you want to use a referral link like mine, Rabid, put a hashtag Rabid at the end of that, and this should get everything up and running. So I'm going to submit that, and we'll see if this thing kicks in. Configuration successful, restart or not, submit. We're going to restart this miner now, and hopefully we start getting detected at the pool. All right, so back to the beautiful dashboard here. We are seeing some hash rate right now. We have an average hash rate, real-time hash rate, obviously fan RPM, our nice temperature here. I'm assuming this is the intake, and this is the outtake, being a little bit warmer than the intake here. Coming into the pool settings, I want to point out when it came to Unminable, maybe this miner in general, one, you don't need a password. That's awesome. You only need to set up one pool instead of all three. And I had the SSL port in, not the TCP. I intended to do the TCP, but you know, I messed up. Anyway, the port here was 3333 instead of 4444, which I originally put in. So again, point out TCP port, not the SSL port. But yeah, it looks like things are working pretty good right now. It is telling us 1,189 watts in the dashboard. Let's look at the wall and the power meter to see what's accurate. All right, so coming into here, we're actually 1,383 watts at the wall. That's about 193, 194 watts now, more than what the dashboard is showing us. So I was watching the USA versus Canada hockey game. So that's all over now. I come back and everything's looking like it's stabilized here. We have 0% rejected. It's been up for about 2 hours and 5 minutes. And the dashboard here is telling us 1,217 watts. So now let's go take a look and see if our power at the wall has stabilized a bit. All right, so at the wall here, we're at about 1,416 watts. That is 191 watt difference between the dashboard. Also, this is right at your 80% range on a 15 amp 120 volt breaker. So keep in mind, you're going to want at least 15 amps. I would recommend moving up to 20 amps if you have the options on 120 volt. And most likely, I'd recommend using 240 volt for this miner. I don't know if I messed up on something or what. I took the L1 out of the worker name, so I'm going to wait again. But coming into unminable here, I'm not being detected at the pool. And if I hit a refresh here, it can say my account is currently inactive. It's cleared. I haven't mined on here for 6 months or something. When was my last payment? It says, what is that? The 10th month? So that's what? January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So yeah, it's been a little while since October 17th is when I got my last payment trying this out here. So I don't know. That's pretty crazy. October, November, December, January, February, March, April. So no, I'm actually within the 6 months. It's been 5 months here since this. So it should be live still. So I'm not really sure what's going on. If you actually come into their terms and conditions, which I wasn't really aware about, or if it's always been like this. But after 6 months, they could take all your coins if you have a balance. Obviously, it is up to you. Always clear your balance. That's why whenever I mine here, I usually don't have an auto pay. I just wait for a while, and then I just hit the payout now button whenever I want to get my payout, and then it gives me the full balance. So I never leave any dust kind of on the pool. But I am not seeing any miner connection right now on here other than when I last had the L9 on here a while ago. So I'm going to wait for a little while. Maybe it was the L1 in the worker name, but I'm going to have to try another pool here because I might have been burning power and mining for free. All right, so it may have been the L1 in the name, so maybe you can't use numbers or something. This was, I believe, saying 1%. I'll know for sure when I go back and edit this video, but I'm pretty sure this said 1% mining fee, and because I used a referral code, free for using valid referral code, okay, so I'm using it, it dropped to 0.75. So I think we're actually mining now in everything. And coming into here, you know, it says active under here. We got our worker name. You can see I just got FluMiner now. And then again, I'm using the TCP of 3333. So now I'm just going to wait and hopefully we get detected at that pool. All right, so I don't know. It's all broken. It went back to 1% fee. Nothing's updating here. So I'm just going to try EMCD here. So we're just going to run through here and pick some stratums and get in there. So I'm just going to go with this. I'm going to come into my FluMiner here, and we're just going to get rid of unminable, and then we're going to bring in my account information for this one. So I'm going to copy this one over here, come into my FluMiner here, worker. We're going to go that. So for my worker, let's see if it allows this, L1 FluMiner. And I don't think we need a password. Let's see if it says anything. No, it doesn't say anything about a password here on EMCD. So I'm just going to come in, submit this, reboot it, and hopefully now I'm not mining for free anymore. Will you look at that? We are detected. Everything is working. There's nothing wrong with the miner. Now we just got to wait for some hash rates and stuff. So sadly, I'm not going to be able to get any averages for quite some time. So we will update how well this miner is doing over the next 7 days or something. We'll look at it a week later or something. But for now, we are detected. I do want to wait for some hash rate to at least hit the pool, like the hash rate now, your real-time current here. Coming into the dashboard, it is telling us we're real time, so the amount of shares you're finding. It's saying about 7.3 gigahash. Remember, that's not accurate. We do need that average, and currently it's averaging over the past, I guess, 2 minutes of 5.51. I'm just going to do a refresh here. Yeah, 2 minutes, 5.51. So yeah, because it's only been on for 2 minutes, and EMCD has already connected and detected it. So as mentioned earlier, I did get this miner from ASL Miner, and link will be down in the description if you're looking for this. And code rabidmining 100 will also grant $100 off your order. It's currently looking like $3,000 for the May 1st to 30th batch. I thought this was upwards to 5,000. It was going up, but right here it's actually looking like it's cheaper. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe there's some other listings. So I'm just actually going to come into here and see if they got some other ones. So here's another one right here, then the other one. So now we have the FluMiner here and choose an option. So let's go January batch. We got 5,000 for the now batch. March is $3.99. April batch is $32.99, and May batch. Okay, yeah, that was the May batch we looked. So looking way off into the future, around $3,000. Now keep in mind, last cycle, May is when Dogecoin peaked. So if you order for the cheaper price, but you're waiting months, Dogecoin may have peaked by then, and then obviously all the miners are going to get a lot cheaper after that when all the prices start crashing, because when it comes to altcoins, they pump and then they're dumped pretty much twice as fast, and then it's dead for another 4 years. So looking into the May batch might be too far into the future if you're looking for some quick money making currently right now. Again, it's going to cost quite a bit more getting it now, but you may end up making more depending on the price that Doge could hit. Again, Doge might not even hit until, you know, the end of the year. We don't know, or maybe it's already peaked and hit that all-time high. Regardless, links down in the description if you are looking for this miner for yourself. All right, so just to look at some quick numbers, if you were to order this miner this very second at the most expensive price here, because you're getting it right now, and there's only 7 units available by the looks of things at the current pricing coming into FluMiner's website. It says 7 in stock. I don't know if that number is accurate or not, but we'll just have to wait and see. And it says shipping in February on the 20th. So in 7 days, in 1 week's time, this will be shipping at the time of recording here. But coming back into here, we can see that based on this, you know, it is nice and efficient. 3.74 at 5.3 gigahash at 1,416 watts. Over the most comparable miner would obviously be the DG1 Home, coming in at 3.33. Fairly close in that efficiency, but we are getting more hash rate at a slightly higher efficiency over the DG1 Home here. This is costing a little bit more. Again, this is at the current price. It's going to get cheaper unless Dogecoin pumps. Then it's going to go up to possibly, I'd say, maybe even $6,000 or $7,000, but time will tell. That's coming in at $1.08 per megahash is what you're paying for 5.3 gigahash here. And the DG1 Home, based on current price that I can find, it went up like $500 from initial release. It's just slightly under 2,000 at 1,999. That's actually 99 cents per megahash, so slightly cheaper than this FluMiner, but again, very close in price here, and you're getting a bit more efficiency and a lot more hash rate, which is a lot of people really want that extra hash rate here. And then just to compare that, it's really hard to compare versus the L9. Back when, you know, this was pre-ordered here, the November batches, obviously we're way past that, and it went up by November, but if you pre-ordered November batch earlier, it was only 9,199, which was only 57 cents per megahash, which is insane for 16 gigahash here at 3,360 watts, becoming the most efficient miner. Still, this is upwards to about 10,500, and as you know, this miner went up to $12,000 to $14,000 depending, you know, what website and stuff you're looking at. Let me just double check that. So yeah, coming into here for the L9, it does look like on Miner Bros that the L9 16 gigahash in stock is 11,599, and then the April batch is 10,199 comparing the price. But obviously this is a lot of money for a home miner to spend versus that. Again, the FluMiner is up there as well, but definitely a lot cheaper, and it's coming in with decent efficiency. All right, guys, so the plot does thicken. Coming into my dashboard, it's still saying 0 hash rate. It's been about 10-15 minutes now, and I do have 1% rejects, but 0 hash rate. And so I'm not really sure what is going on here. It's not being detected. I did go into the FluMiner here, into the dashboard, wherever I can find that now. Right. Oh, I'm resetting it. I went in and now it's starting up again. So in my pool settings, I did add the X into there. So I'm going to see if we need the X, and then I'm going to add all 3 pools because maybe you do need it. I think if that's the case, it's pretty dumb that it's saying active here, that it's starting, it's using all that power. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like the same thing that we're seeing with the DG1 Home, is where you could remove the pools and stuff, and as long as the miner's on, it's still using full power. So yeah, I don't see a cooldown thing here, you know, a sleep mode or anything to unplug it. It's always going to have that power going. I will try, I guess, without any pool as well and see if that's a thing. But right now I got to get this thing detected at the pool, even though it's telling me active. So I don't know. I'm not sure what's happening right now, but we'll get this figured out. All right, guys, so now I am trying via BTC and I'm still getting some issues. If I go in the dashboard and I keep clicking it, it randomly says active, inactive, active, inactive. And I forgot about the miner log. Most ASICs, every ASIC has it. If I come into here, we're actually getting nonce errors. So it's doing different things here. We're seeing error, but there was something, error chip 94. So I see I'm getting an error there. Maybe I got a dud miner. It's not even working. But here we can see nonce error 2806 error 2. So we're getting all sorts of issues. Maybe it only works on F2 pools. So I'm going to make an F2 pool account. I don't really like to use that pool, but in this case, I'm going to. And we'll see, maybe this miner just straight up doesn't work. It's broken dead on arrival, or it is limited to only F2 pool, because we're having some headaches. Obviously, we'll just see what happens here. All right, so coming into the miner, even on F2 pool, I am still getting a bunch of nonce errors and stuff. Here we can see CNT nonce 5170, error number 3. So we are getting errors, but coming into the pool, we are starting to see some hash rate, and it is saying online one worker. I'm just going to refresh it. Now we're up to 1.37. So I'm going to let it sit here for a little bit, but it does look like it's limited to just this pool. So this is like developed by F2 pool or something. Actually, I don't know. I'm just making stuff up right now, guys, but it does look like it's very limited to only the one pool, as it would not work and connect to any of the other ones. It was using all the power. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna let this sit, and we'll see what the hash rate and stuff looks like, and see if we're actually even earning any coins. All right, so it was getting pretty late. It was like 2 in the morning. So I went to bed, left it sit overnight. It is now 8 in the morning today. And I guess we're going to take a look at our hash rates. The hash rate has been hanging out here. If we come into our actual workers on F2 pool, we can see that the 15-minute hash rate is 4.99 gigahash. Obviously, we haven't been mining. It's only been like, I don't know, 5-6 hours or so, maybe a little bit longer. You know, I'm horrible with time right now. But anyway, it's been like not very long, and it's so we don't have a 24-hour hash rate yet. Rejected so far is 0.5%, so 0.5%. That's within margin. That's decent. That's pretty good rejection rate here. You know, obviously 0 is best, but you know, you're always going to have a little bit. I think the L9 is sitting at 1% or something like that. So that's pretty good. We're having good on the rejected here. As for revenue, I still got to wait like another 8 or 9 hours before it updates to actually see what we're getting. So I still don't even know if I'm mining any coins. I will update you guys on that when it comes in. But yeah, the major issue here is it seems to only work on F2 pool. I haven't tried mining Dutch or anything yet, but first I want to see if this is actually working at F2 pool. And then again, you know, I'll try mining Dutch and some other pools. Maybe I'll go through every pool and see exactly what this can mine, and then we'll do some averages and see how well it does in 7 days. That will be for the later video, but right now this is initial setup and first look at it, and everything is great except for the huge limitation in the mining pool selections. All right, guys, so that pretty much does wrap up this video. Now, I set it here on the 240 volt next to the Antminer L9 16 gigahash version. Here's a little script things going on right now. But yeah, so the major issue here is your pool selection. You can only mine on F2 pool currently. I will go through and try a whole bunch of other pools. I'll try every pool, I guess, eventually here and see how well it does in an updated video. And then, you know, we'll see what our average 24-hour hash rates and stuff is looking like as well. So it is real. The FluMiner is here with the pool limitation. Other than that, you know, it is slightly louder than the DG1. I want to point that out because all the fans seem like they're turning higher. Maybe we'll do a teardown, things like that. Let me know what else you want to see about this miner moving forward, but it is very silent. Little low pitch hum here, louder than the DG1 home. And then obviously pool limitations here, but we're getting supposed to be about 5.3 gigahash. It is using more power at over 1400 watts. So I would recommend 240 volt over 120 volt, even though the dashboard is about 190 watts, you know, off from that. So there we go. We got the FluMiner. It is a real miner. It is here. What are your thoughts on Dogecoin? What are your thoughts on this miner? And have you been looking into that or wishing it's real? Have you already maybe ordered one and it's on the way? And what do you currently still think about it? Let me know everything down in the comments. Remember, this was sent from ASL Miner, and I will have a link to them down in the description. Check them out. I'll see you on the next one, guys. Rabid out.